All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've given you this problem to see how well you could use the notes you've gotten to solve this adding of fractions with unlike denominators. Reagan, what'd you get? Yes, for the answer. How much? 3/30. Cora? 3/5. Gunner? What did you get on this problem? 3/5. Ricky, what did you get on this problem? 3/30. Jaden, what about you? 3/11. Victoria, what did you get?
Not done.
Not done. Ethan, what'd you get? 3/11. Megan? 3/11. Tatum?
3/30.
3/30. All right, so before we go on, let's ask a few questions. Let's ask a few questions. Ava, is 2/5 less than, greater than, or equal to 1? I mean to half. Is it less than, greater than, or equal to 1/2? Less than. Excellent. 2/5 is less than a half because 2 is less than half of 5. 1/6, Shina. Less than, greater than, or equal to a half? Less than. So we have two fractions that are less than a half that we are adding together. Which means my answer has to be less than what, Logan? 1/2. Not less than 1/2. It's got to be less than 1/2. Because I'm adding less than a half plus less than a half. So my answer has to be less than 1. And put your hand down. Ponerse su mano. En su siento. I don't know if that's right or not, but hopefully I understood it. Let's see. Kayla, can we add these the way they are currently written? No, why not? Awesome, because what you just glued in your journal, step 1 was make sure the bottom numbers, also called denominators in big people language, are the same. So Kayla, are they the same? No. What are the two denominators? 5 and 6. All right, so we got to make equivalent fractions without changing the value. Now, the way I suggest that you do it is you rewrite these problems vertically because it makes your life easier. So, let me ask you this. Ricky, I'm sorry to keep making you pay attention by calling your name, but Ricky, have you ever written a problem like this before? You haven't ever written a problem vertically? Okay. So we know how to write a problem vertically. No problem. We have not done something beyond our abilities yet. Molly, what should I do to make sure they have a common denominator? Remember one of those things we had written up here? Might have been the one that Mia told me. Least common denominator. We have to find our least common denominator. Now we did this last week where we were given two fractions and we just had to find the least common denominator of those two fractions and change them to an equivalent fraction. Right, Ricky? So what are my denominators on this fraction again, Ricky? 6 and 5. Now I'm going to list the multiples of 6 and 5. Because your teacher is awesome and he lets you use your multiplication chart, it should be real easy. Not Kimberly. Will you count off by 6s for me, please?
6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36.
30, 36. Awesome. Ava, will you count off by 5s for me?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35.
Nasir, do you see anything they have in common?
30.
30. 30 is our least common denominator. It is the smallest number they have in common. So awesome, the attention I'm getting, because you're going to have to do this in a moment. And again tomorrow. So once I found my least common denominator, and again Friday and Thursday, much like we did last week, we have to change these to fractions that are equivalent but have a denominator of 30. I believe on Why is Tuesday the favorite day of math teachers, that's exactly what you did. Exactly what you did, found common denominators. I'm just saying. Gunner, we need to change 2/5 into something over 30, which means I need to multiply it by a fraction that equals 1. Because if I multiply something by 1, I don't change the value. So Gunner, what fraction should I use? 5 times what's going to give me 30? 6. So I'm going to use the fraction 6/6. So that gives me a denominator of 30. Then I just multiply my numerator straight across. 2 times 6 is what, Gunner? 12. Awesome. Now I need to change 6 so that it has a denominator of 30, which means I'm multiplying by a fraction that equals 1. And I need to multiply by what, Ricky? All these people at home are like, why does he keep calling on Ricky? That is so mean. He knows Ricky's not paying attention. Why would he keep calling on him? That's rude. 6 times 6 does not give me 30. 5. Good. 5/5. Even though he's not paying attention, he pulls it out. Rocking it. Ethan, my numerator. I multiply straight across. So 1 times 5 is? 5. Then I always go back and look to see if it's an addition or subtraction. Because when I give assignments and it mixes them up a little bit, sometimes students get confused. Now, Tatum, can I add these fractions the way they are currently written? Awesome. Because they have the same denominator. I just changed 2/5 equals 12/30. Those are the same value. I just changed 1/6 equals 5/30. Same value. So Tatum, what's 12/30 plus 5/30?
17/30.
17/30. Now I don't know if I'm done, because I need to check and see if I can simplify. So I have to find the greatest common factor for 17 and 30. 1 and 17, it's prime, so that's all it is. 30, I have 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. The greatest common factor is 1. If my greatest common factor is 1, then that fraction is already in simplified form. So 2/5 plus 1/6 equals 17/30. 17/30. Oh, let's see. Natalie, is 17/30 less than, greater than, or equal to a half? Greater than a half. Because 15/30 would be exactly a half. So 17/30 is more than a half. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all this, put another problem up there. Since you've written all this down and watched all this, you should be able to solve it, and then we'll come back and I'll have someone help me talk through it. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for some words from our sponsors. And we're back. If we remember what I told you the last time we were recording, which was a couple minutes ago, or even more if you stop the video like I did, we cannot add or subtract fractions unless they have a common denominator. I'm just saying. So what we have to do is we have to change these two fractions without changing the value so that they have a common denominator. So I find the least common denominator of 5 and 7. Of 5 and 7. Reagan, what is the least common denominator of 5 and 7? 35. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. My least common denominator is 35. Hopefully you're writing this down so when tomorrow you're asked to do this, you don't raise your hand and say, when did we ever do this? I've never seen a fraction before. You're crazy and just throwing stuff at us that only somebody that's a Dr. Math can do. So now we need to change both of these fractions without changing the value so that they have denominators of 35. Which means I need to multiply 2/5 by a fraction that equals 1. I need to multiply 3/7 by a fraction that equals 1 so that I don't change the denominator, or don't change the value. I don't want to change the value. So Megan, what would I multiply times 5 to get 35? 7. Great. So 7 over 7 equals 1. So what's 2 times 7, Megan? 14. So 14 35ths is equal to 2/5. 14 35ths is equal to 2/5. Cora, what would I multiply by 7 to get 35? 5. So I have 5 over 5, which gives me what here? 15. And 14 35ths plus 15 35ths equals what, Cora? 29 35ths. But wait, I need to see if I have to simplify it. So I find the greatest common factor of 29 and 35. 1 and 29 because it's prime. 1 and 35. 7 and 5. Greatest common factor is 1. If the greatest common factor is 1, that fraction is already in simplest terms. Now this is awesome because you have this for tomorrow. Boom! Shakalaka! Peace out! God bless! Love ya! Do something kind!